Well, good morning, everyone. It's Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, November 9th, 2021. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time, a minute or so before 8 o'clock Central. And today is, I guess you'd consider part two of a two-part training. So I have my screen shared here with you. If technology is agreeing, I'm going to make it a little larger so we can zoom in. So yesterday, what we did is we announced the relaunch of the 60-day credit sweep. I want to take just a snapshot of a big picture of why that's relevant, and then we'll talk about today's topic. When it comes to getting financing, no matter if it's a mortgage, a car loan, student loans, business loans, it comes down to the 3 C's, doesn't it? Credit, cash flow, collateral. Now, different types of loans have different weightings, and some focus on some of the C's versus others. But what you and I see is that there's a lot of small businesses that's looking to get access to capital, that they have a barrier regarding personal credit. Again, are there some sources of business funding that does not look at personal credit? There are, but in general, is it smart to have good personal credit? Of course it is. And so while there's an infinite number of competitors of credit repair companies, which we're not, as paralegals, there's something that we can do that they can't, which is truly leverage the legal system to help clients block applicable derogatory credit. So yesterday, we relaunched the 60-day credit sweep program, both in the context of helping access to capital clients that have an issue with that C, credit, but also it can help individuals. I've had 2 calls. My phone's been burning up since we relaunched this, and 2 calls this morning, both out of Florida for whatever reason, and just, you know, real estate professionals especially are gravitating towards this because there's a lot of frustration and disappointment that many real estate and loan officer professionals have had with traditional credit repair that hasn't allowed their clients to get approved for mortgages. So regardless if it's an access to capital client or someone at large, the 60-day credit sweep offers better credit quickly. It's a legal model. It's built off of legal principles. It's ran by paralegals. It's effective. It's guaranteed, which of course is in writing. It's very affordable. It is not credit repair. It is not credit repair. We've got great success stories. We launched this initially, I believe it was January of this year. So we're about 10, 11 months in. Great success stories. We've promoted those. They're on the website, so that is outstanding. And if you didn't see yesterday's training, here's where you can go view it. Now, today, we're going to talk about how you can put yourself in position to make an adult income off of the 60-day credit sweep. We are not trying to sell you anything. We're not charging anything. You can be a white label partner specifically for the 60-day credit sweep. That's what we're talking about today. And as it states, there's no cost. We don't want to charge you. This is not an MLM or network marketing, Ponzi, advanced fee business opportunity. There's no cost to be a white label partner. So let's talk about how it works, and then we'll field your questions. Again, it addresses a key issue impacting many people. And I'm telling you that the real estate market is hot. So separate from the entrepreneurial spectrum, there's a lot of people in the real estate industry that would love to know that you have this resource and would be referring to you. As a white label partner, you set your own pricing. We're going to talk dollars and cents here in just a moment. And I say there's no work involved, and I think it's true because other than just gathering a couple documents in the beginning, which I'll show you, you don't have to do the work. The paralegals do the work. You know, being a paralegal isn't something, it's not like being a PhD, it's certainly not being an attorney or a JD. I've gone through a paralegal training course. I paid my $6,000, went through Rice University's paralegal certification course. Some of you may have as well. But there's a lot you learn as a paralegal that the average person doesn't know about how to leverage laws, how laws work, how to work through the judicial system, how to hold people accountable, people and organizations accountable, how to create demand letters, how to sue them properly, how to collect after suit. So the work that's being done is being done by the paralegals, not by you. And you're probably smarter than all of us that are paralegals, but you're just not burdened with doing all of that, which is great. And it's a very high profit margin. All right, so what does a white label partner do to earn? You're going to earn probably around $1,000 per client. So does it get rich quick? Absolutely not. Now, granted, you control the pricing, so maybe you make more than 1,000 or less than 1,000, and we'll talk about some popular pricing options in a moment. But what is it that you do? What do you do? Well, as a white label partner, you're going to collect the payment from the client because they're your client. And so I was just having a conversation just a moment ago with a really spirited, he's a current white label partner on the Access to Capital, and he's got visions of running thousands of people through. But at the most basic element, you have to be able to collect whatever money that you're going to charge your client. And so if you want to collect via credit card or PayPal or Venmo or Zelle or ACH or Bitcoin, I mean, it's all up to you, but you just need to be aware that as a white label partner, you're not acting as our rep. You are running your own shop and you're going out and securing the client. Getting the clients is super simple, but as far as getting the clients onboarded, if you will, that's your role. And so you'll determine the price, and then you select how you'll allow them to pay. So when we talk about what does a white label partner do, referring to the 60-day credit sweep white label partner, the first thing you need to do is collect the money from the client. We're going to talk about pricing and pricing strategies and some of the psychological price points in a moment. So we'll get to that. Secondly, you need to onboard each white label client. This is remarkably simple. This is nothing like onboarding and mentoring Access to Capital clients, where you have the 4 modules, you have the financial literacy, you're building a loan package. This is super simple. You're going to have them complete the setup form, which we'll provide to you. Super simple. And then you need to collect from them what's called the proof of identity, typically a driver's license, and then their proof of address, which is usually a utility bill less than 30 days old in their name with their address. And if they don't have that, they can use a current bank statement. So what is it that the white label partner does? They collect the money from the client, and then they're going to onboard the client. Now, right now you can say, well, this seems too much. You know, I don't want to do that. Well, then you can just refer people in, and that's what we discussed on yesterday's training. So the white label is doing more, getting paid more, and being in control. So that is step 1, step 2, and then you're going to forward the client, if I can highlight it properly, the client packet, which is composed of these items, to us for processing. Now, this is the cost that you're paying us per client. We can be flexible if you're going to split that up with the client, and we need to split that up so it's not all paid at once. We can work with you on that, but I'm just being transparent. The total cost that you're going to pay the paralegals for the document processing, in other words, to do the work, is $899. Anything that you charge above that is your profit. You could do split payment with the client, and we're going to talk about some different pricing options, but we can work with you. So let's say, well, we'll hop into pricing for a second. What you probably would agree, I would strongly agree, is that if you can keep the client's initial out-of-pocket below $500 to enroll. Now, there might be other costs that they pay that's deferred or delayed. But if you can get people enrolled in the 60-day credit suite and you're requiring them to pay $500, $600 or less, you'll get lots of people to enroll. It's called price elasticity. I used to teach economics. So the higher the price, the fewer the people that can afford it or are willing to pay for it. So the sweet spot is if you can get it below 600, even better below 500 out of pocket for the client to get started, you will enroll a lot more people than charging them 1,000, for example. And at 1,000, you'd have a lot more people enrolled than if you charged them 2,000. So with that being said, we can work with you on the timing of this, but we're just being transparent. What you'll owe us, so we can pay the paralegals for the time that they're putting in, is $8.99. Okay, so that's what you do. Not a whole lot of work. Now let's talk about the pricing models that we've seen discussed so far. On a per client basis, you're going to pick the pricing. You could just charge them a large upfront fee, and that's not an unreasonable or unfair fee. If you're charging them $19.99 up front, you're paying us to $8.99 for the paralegals to do the work, then of course your profit is a little over 1,000. That looks good on paper. I wouldn't go to market with that, quite frankly, because I think a big part of the marketplace doesn't have $2,000 sitting around. I don't think that they want to pay everything up front. I think a lot of them are going to want to see results before they pay. So this is the simplest option for you to put money in your pocket. But I think from a volume perspective, it would not bode as well. I will tell you, and probably tomorrow we'll get into some educational ways to take this to the marketplace. But I can tell you that there's ways to get this cost absorbed by loan officers, realtors, and others by the referral source, because what they want, for example, and I'll digress a minute and I'll get back on track. I was asked to go in to a manufactured home lot. So I call them mobile homes, mainly they're double wides now, but typically not in city limits, but in more rural areas, they still sell a lot of manufactured homes, and they often deal with a lower credit customer base. And I've had it arranged several times in the past where they would have the client pay for the credit sweep, but then they would credit that amount at closing when they came in and closed on their new manufactured house. That is really powerful. So the client pays for it up front. Maybe they're even using some of their down payment money for the house, but then it's credited back at closing, not by you, not by us, but by what they're buying. But anyway, so one pricing option is charge a lot up front. It's easy for you. I wouldn't recommend it in general because I think you're going to see a lot less volume. Another thing that you could do is you could split the fee. And again, you could set the fee whatever you want as a white label partner, but you could split where it's half up front and then half after 60 days. I think that's remarkably better than charging them up front, because now they, a lot more people have $1,000 than has 2,000 sitting around. People like to pay some now and some later after they see the results. I think that's far superior. So I think you'll enroll a lot more people if you did the split, half up front, half after 60 days. Your profit's the same, but the timing of your cash flow is obviously impacted. Another option, and there's an infinite number of pricing options, you can do whatever you want, but another option would be to charge $9.99 up front or less. You can make that a lower amount. Again, I think you'll get more people at $6.99 than you would at $9.99. I think you get even more people at $5.99 than $6.99. I think the sweet spot is probably $4.99. When you get below 500, I think you're gonna have a lot of engagement. But regardless, But then the back end could be based upon results. People like that, right? Well, people have mixed feelings. People like to pay upon results, but they may be cautious. Well, I don't know how much results I'm going to have. So if my score goes up 100 points, what does that mean? If my score goes up 200 points, what does that mean? But it's just another pricing option. So in summary, there's three main pricing models that we think that you should consider if you want to become a white label partner of the 60-day credit suite. The simplest is fully upfront, whatever dollar amount you want. I don't recommend it, but that's the simplest. The second is a split fee, typically 50% now, 50% in 60 days. And then the third option would be a split fee, but half of it is upfront, and then the balance is based upon results. So you can let me know if you have any questions on that. So with that, if you're enrolling around 10 clients a month, and all these models would generate predictably around $1,000 per client or a little bit more for you, it's a good side gig, right? And I'm telling you, there's no shortage of prospects for the credit suite. First of all, most of you are involved with access to capital. Most of you have been submitting people in that were not getting cash, some people that were not getting cash funding for their first tranche of financing. That is your lowest hanging fruit. I mean, look at some of you. Bruce, Mr. White, you fed in so many people that didn't qualify for cash funding. You could be hopping all over this, going back to them saying, hey, I know you didn't get cash funding for your first tranche, but we've got a tool for that. We've got a solution for that. And I know the way Bruce is thinking, and you may or may not want to do this. You might even say, hey, if you'll go through this, I'll credit this back once you've completed your capital raise, if you're in access to capital, similar to what I talked about the manufactured home rep doing. So there's ways that you could have the client pay, but agree to credit back their payment based upon some future event that would further motivate them. How do you, lastly, and then we'll open it up for questions. And so how do you get set up as a white label partner on the 60-day credit sweep? Again, how much does it cost to be a white label partner on credit sweep? Nothing. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're not charging anything. You don't have to go buy a website. You don't have to go buy a landing page. You don't spend any money. This is not about you spending money. This is about us working together to solve a problem. And the problem is there's a lot of people that have jacked up credit, and it's impacting their access to financing, regardless if it's for housing, transportation, business, education, what have you. So you would let us know, hey, I want to be a white label partner on the 60-day credit suite. Great. We'd love to work with you. We need to know who wants to be in that role. We are only looking for white label partners that will generate at least 10 of the 60-day credit sweeps per month. Now, I mean, if we hit 9, does that mean something negative? No, but if we're not going to help a critical mass, then just use our current referral model, which was highlighted yesterday. And then it's simple. You just refer the name in, you get paid, and you don't have to do, then you don't have to do anything else, right? So we have to somehow find the line between people that dabble and people that are engaged. And so that line that is drawn is, hey, if you'll commit, work with us, and if you need leads, there's just no issue with bad credit leads, right? We've got seemingly an endless supply. Most of you have access to those. Finding people with bad credit, not a problem. We've got a better mousetrap to help them. That's the power in this. Then we can get you set up. So there's the marketing flyer, which we went through yesterday. We covered it on yesterday's training. So we'll get that to you so you can edit that to use for your purposes. We need the client setup form, which we referenced back here. Real simple. No charge for any of this, no cost. And then we'll support you. So is this a redirection away from access to capital? No, it's an instrumental tool to be able to help many of the clients that are in access to capital that have a barrier. Can it be offered outside, separate, distinct from access to capital? Absolutely. It's up to you. Could you be a white label partner in the 60-day credit suite and not a white label partner in access to capital? Sure. It doesn't matter to us. We just want to go help more people and help you make money. All right, so let me shrink this back down and we're going to start to drill in to the questions that you have. So Latasha had the first question a couple minutes ago. So you're right, Latasha. So this is separate. So we have two different white label programs. We have one on the access to capital, and now as of today, we're announcing we're launching the white label on the 60-day credit suite. Two different deliverables to the marketplace. You could be one, not the other. You could do both. Frankly, you could do neither, but they're separate. All right, next, Sanya asked the difference between the 60-day credit suite and the total credit rebuild. Thank you for asking. The total credit rebuild is a more comprehensive offering that addresses 4 things. It includes credit suite, also credit boost. We help thirdly with building income verification, and fourth, we help with building collateral. So it is a more complicated instrument. I would argue more valuable. But what I've seen, Sanya, and it's what we talked about yesterday, unfortunately, people don't respond well to complicated. People often want simple solutions, even if it's a complicated problem. So we're going to continue to offer the total credit rebuild. There's not a bit of change there, but that's not what we're talking about here. Here we're talking about 60-day credit suite, which is in fact embedded into the total credit rebuild, but offered separate. So Sanya, if that didn't answer adequately, let me know. All right, so Tyrone is asking about the difference. So I'm going to try to interpret what you're asking, Tyrone. So yesterday, what we talked about is if you're not doing the white label version of this, then we charge the client a small amount up front, $499, and then the rest of the payment is deferred for 60 days. So that's our internal pricing model. And if you want to do that, then you get paid $100 for each person you refer over. We cover that, Tyrone, in detail on yesterday's training. Now, today we're talking about taking the same program, but offering it to the marketplace through the white label offering. So you are setting your own pricing and you're in control of it. And so that's why the dollars are different today, because now the client's not paying us anything. You're the white label partner. You're charging the client whatever you want. And we're clarifying that our take to cover the cost of paying the paralegals is $899, which is frankly is the same as it was yesterday. The only difference is we're saying that we can have some flexibility with you on timing of the payment, but we're just being transparent to say that's what we need to be able to cover our cost to pay for the paralegal labor. Hopefully that made sense, Tyrone. If not, let me know. Yesterday's flyer. So yes, if you're interested in being a white label partner, we will provide the flyer so you can edit it with your contact information, because you'd want to do that, right? Because you're taking it out white label. We'll provide you the client setup form, which you'll need. You'll need to figure out how you're going to collect payments from clients. If you're going to do the white label, as I mentioned, you'll need to determine your pricing structure. Spencer's asking the link for the credit suite. And so we covered that yesterday, and I can pull that up for you in a minute. But if you go back to yesterday's training, we covered all of that in extensive detail. Spencer, thank you for asking. Pete's asking a good question. So it is important, Pete, to recognize that this again is a separate initiative from the access to capital. So I wouldn't try to combine those. You're welcome to be involved with either, both, or neither, but they're separate initiatives. All right, let's see. Latasha asked, can you explain how to take less than the 500 again, please? Well, so the $8.99, we can break that down for you if we need to. So if you're pricing, for example, Latasha, let's say that you're going to charge the client $2,000 up front. Well, great. If that's what you want to do, fine. Then send us our fee along with the paperwork so we can implement. But you might say, well, no. Latasha may be saying that she wants to get them in at $4.99 for their upfront, splitting the payments where more of it or additional fees are due after 60 days. And she's saying, well, that cash flow doesn't add up. If she's taking in $4.99 and paying us $8.99, then she's having a net loss of $400 at the time of enrollment. What I said, Latasha, is we can work with you on the timing of this payment, but I am clarifying that that's the cost for us to cover the paralegals to do the document processing. It does not have to be paid all up front, is my point. We'll work with you on the timing of that. It'll be based upon the timing of how you're charging your clients. Sorry for the confusion on that. All right, so Pete says, thank you, you're welcome. I guess more questions. So the TCR program has 4 components. The credit sweep is one of those 4. This is offering just this one component. It's just this one component. It's like going into Cheesecake Factory and you didn't order the appetizer, the entree, the drinks, and the dessert. You're just getting the cheesecake, just the dessert. So here's if someone wants just the dessert, the total credit rebuild would provide them that 4-course meal. Probably not a good analogy, but best I could come up with. Okay, so let's see here. Warren's asking, I guess, more about the clarification of this versus TCR, which I think we've gone through. We're clarifying this is not credit repair. It is not credit repair. It's not credit repair. What does credit sweep do? Well, we're blocking applicable derogatory items using the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 605B, using documents developed by paralegals. It is not credit repair. Warren, if you're wanting to just refer in clients, get your easy 100 and not be a white label partner, then that is covered in detail on yesterday's training. If alternatively what you're wanting to do is be a white label partner, then you need to follow these 3 steps. Jeremy said, I made him hungry. Sorry about that, Jeremy. Okay, so this is a really big deal, but I want to stop and ask, what other questions do you have? Hopefully this wasn't confusing, because to summarize, yesterday we relaunched the 60-day credit sweep to be able to help more clients become more credible, more fundable, more quickly. If you have some better way to help people improve their credit, do it. For the love of God, go do it right now, because these people need help. They're being blocked for mortgages. They're being blocked from getting auto loans. They're paying too much for interest rates. They can't qualify for the access to capital amounts they need because their credit's jacked up. We've got to help improve their credibility and their fundability. For those of you that don't have a tool that's already working, this will work. But if you have some other way, don't change what's not broken, right? If you're able to bring people in, fix their credit in 60 days so they can get a mortgage, a car loan, a business loan, great, do it your way. You're not going to hurt our feelings. It doesn't make us mad, but we've got to help these clients become credible and fundable. And this is a way that you can monetize that. So we just simply talked yesterday about how the base credit sweep works, and we specifically broke this into 2 parts. So if all you want to do is refer in, get paid $100 and not worry about anything else, it's simple. It was covered on yesterday's training, which has been shared with all of you. In contrast, if you want to do a little bit more and get paid about 10 times as much, then I would encourage you to become a white label partner of the 60-day credit suite. And that's what we discussed today. It's not complicated. You're not left to do the work. And again, I'm not saying that our team of paralegals are smarter than you. I'm just saying that they know the laws, they know legal writing, they'll do the work for you. Other than just onboarding the client, collecting the payment, there's hardly anything left for you to do. It's beautiful. And this can be offered to access to capital clients. A lot of you have a large funnel. Pauline, how many clients do you have that didn't qualify for cash funding? A bunch. Renee, my goodness, Renee is a superstar. And I don't say that to just as a blind compliment. She's driven in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients in the past month. Renee, how many of those clients are not getting approved for cash funding? Those are your prospects here. Renee, more than anyone else on this whole training, you should be able to literally enroll 100 clients in Credit Sweep in the month of November off of your current funnel, not looking for one new lead. Renee, if you could enroll 100 people and make on grand 1,000 a piece, that's huge. That's huge. All right, so who else has questions regarding the launch of the white label program for the 60-day credit suite? Doesn't cost you anything. We're not trying to sell you anything. It's an opportunity for you to do a little bit more and set the pricing so you make about 10 times as much. Anyone have questions before we break today? All right, well, you know the action step here. If you're interested in being a white label partner, all you need to do is just email us info@60daycreditsweep.com. Let us know, confirm that you're going to produce at least 10 a month, because if you're not going to be focused and committed on that, then just stick with the referral program. There's no reason for you and I to put a lot of time and effort if all we're going to do is dabble. But I know most of you, and there's just so much opportunity, hitting 10 or more a day is not going to be a problem, and we'll get you set up. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Bye.